there, crafters. Thanks again for joining me, Mary Knabe at Stampin' Peace. Today I've got another video in my series of 4 using the Floral Boutique Suite on pages 76 and 77 of our annual catalog. Again, one of my very favorites. I've got today's video and another for tomorrow, and then I will be moving on to some other great videos with many other new products. I will give you a heads up and let you know that starting Friday, I will have a Festive Friday video to share, and that will be a project or card that features a holiday theme. Could be Christmas. I just had my first Christmas class of the year, Christmas in July, and I am hosting one Christmas holiday class each month from now through November. It might include such holidays as Halloween and Thanksgiving as well. So look for those Festive Friday videos coming soon, starting later this week. So let's get started. Today's card is this. I'm featuring the Thinlits in the Floral Thinlits. Is that the right name? I better check for you. Detailed Floral Thinlits. Wanted to make sure I had the right name for you in case you're looking that up. It's the Detailed Floral Thinlits on page 77. And I am showing you the closed completed card, again with a coordinating envelope. You know, it's always fun to add a little coordination, a little extra something special to the envelope. But before I begin showing you how to make this, I did want to show you what it looks like opened, okay? This is my card opened, and I'm wearing blue, so it's hard to see this navy against that. So I'm gonna kind of move to the side a little bit. So you have this beautiful floral detailed, almost lace-like detail on each end of the card. And whoops, I'm holding it upside down. And then you can open it with this white insert card, okay? So this is the basic card. I simply closed it with a piece of ribbon that would connect both of the left and right side lace detail, and tied it with a loose knot. So that's what we're going to make right now. Plus we're going to add even more to this card. So I am happy to get started showing this to you. Okay, here we go, stampers. Ready to make this beautiful lacy card. I have my pieces already prepared. I'm starting with a 4 1/4 by 11-inch piece of Night of Navy cardstock. And just as I've written here on the side, I'm going to score that at 2 inches. Whoops. And I'm going to score it at 7.5 inches, both on the long side. Okay, 2 and 7.5. Okay. Now, before I do anything with this, I'm going to move this Simply Scored tool out of the way, put in my stylus so I don't lose that, and show you these are the Detailed Floral Thinlits that coordinate with the Floral Phrases stamp set, and this is what we're using. So let me bring over my Big Shot. And we are using all 3 of these Thinlits to make this card base. So I'm using my precision base plate. I'm going to work on the larger of the 2 flaps first. I'm going to lay down the larger thinlet, and I want you to notice that this is where my score line is. So I have my thinlet approximately, I would say about 1/8 of an inch above that. And as you can see, I've actually centered this on the two sides and that score line, okay? So as long as it's centered, you've got it in the right piece. If you put it too close to that fold line, that score line, you are going to have a hard time getting a nice fold, a nice crease for your card. So again, set it so that these three sides are evenly spaced. Then you're going to take this simple image and you are going to place this near the top, and you're kind of matching it up there with the shape of the first thinlet you laid down. You kind of want to make sure that your spacing on the left and right is even, just to make it look a little nicer, give it a little more polished, finished look. So, going to put your cutting blade on top. By the way, the precision base plate, I believe, is the very best one to use with thinlits that are so detailed. Okay, yes, you can use the magnetic platform, but I believe this one to be even better. Okay. I'm going to pull off this piece, that's trash, set that aside, and I'm going to set my Big Shot aside for just a moment. You've heard me talk about the Big Shot die brush. Remember, it works best if you just go in one direction. Don't go back and forth, is what I mean. And you just want to make sure that you're pretty much going over the entire area. You don't have to press hard. I think it's more important to go over it several times than to press hard. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up with most of those little pieces being punched out. There may be a few that you still need to pull out or perhaps punch out with your handy dandy scoring tool, but not nearly as many. I've got 3 teeny tiny ones here, and I've got a few tiny ones here, and then I'm good to go. So think about how much work that would be to poke all of these teeny tiny little things out if I did not have my Big Shot die brush. Okay. I would say too, before using this another time, just flip it over and make sure all the little pieces of cardstock have gotten out of the thinlet. If not, just give it a little poke. But as you can see, I don't have any cleanup of that thinlet to do. They all came out, which is great. That's exactly the way this brush is intended to work. Okay. So set these things aside and bring my Big Shot back. This time I'm working on the small flap. Again, you want to place your thinlet so that the bottom edge near the score line and the top and bottom edge are all pretty much the same space, evenly spaced on those 3 sides. Okay, you're going to take your single piece, match that up, and again you want to set it in a way that it's pretty evenly spaced along the thinlet all the way across. Add your top cutting plate. Roll it back and forth. And it is recommended that with very intricate, detailed thinlits, you do go back and forth a couple times. Did anybody hear that crack? If you're new to the Big Shot and you hear a crack like that, do not worry. It makes that sound, it's just part of the process. You are not hurting your Big Shot. The only thing I can tell you in terms of hurting your Big Shot, if you go to roll it through and it does, you have to let it catch, but if it's so hard that you cannot crank it, you have something layered incorrectly. And in that case, you can look online on the Stampin' Up! Website, or simply email me or call me directly and I will help you get that worked out. So, whoops, Big Shot set aside. I'm bringing back my Big Shot die brush. I really do love this tool. It's moving around on me. So again, I've got most of it out there. My border here got a little close, got a little bit close to that. So I'm gonna just work with it the way it is. I've got a few pieces I want to punch out here with my piercing tool. Another great value in your piercing tool here. Not just for poking holes, but you can see that's all I had to poke out by hand. And again, I had this little edge that cut closer than I wanted it to. And I'm just going to use my scissor snips to cut that right here. I must have moved my my edgelet when I was putting that on there, but I think it's going to work just fine. Nobody else is going to see that tiny little detail when I have my card all put together. So now you're going to do the folding on that score line. Okay, and again, because we left that space around the thinlits, it should be very easy for you to score those. Okay. I love the reconstruction of our stamping piercer. It used to be all metal, so this with the rubber is so much easier to grip and hold. I love the end that fits on there easily and stays on, plus keeping it in this sealed tube is the best way to not lose it. Actually, I'm going to use that again for the project. Okay, so now this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to add here is my inside card base. Now this is going to be cut a little bit smaller than our typical card bases. The reason being that this card base measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Therefore, I want to make this a little bit smaller so that when it's opened up, you see a Night of Navy border in there. So this insert, I measured 5 1/4 inches by 8 inches, and I scored at 4 inches on the long side. Okay, I'm going to add some snail and put this in here. I have considered decorating this outside front, but for me, I just like the simplicity of it when it's closed. It's not, I don't have anything here that would be distracting to that beautiful lace detail. So I'm choosing to leave that blank. However, you might want to add a stamped image inside, a stamped saying. And on this one, I'm making a wedding card this time with the Floral Phrases stamp set. I'm going to stamp the sentiment, "May your love grow stronger, deeper, and more beautiful with every passing year." Love it. And that's exactly what we want for the new bride and groom. So I'm going to stamp this. Okay. Another option for you might be to decorate the inside with one of these wonderful coordinating washi tapes. Washi tapes are amazing, fun, easy product to use. So I think I'm just going to, I think this is the one for me, just because I want it to be very, very subtle. And I'm putting it right here at the bottom. No border left on my white. Now this tears very easily, just like that. If you think of the old masking tape we used to use way back when, it tears even easier than that. Now I could have put this on before I actually taped my card base in, but it was a last minute thought, so I'm just going to kind of cut it off at the end and wrap it around with my fingernail there if I can. I think it's going to be better if I just lift that up and cut it right on the edge. Okay, so tip to you, don't do as I do, do as I say. If you are considering putting washi tape on your cardstock, I think the best way is to do it before you adhere it. That way you can go across, wrap the ends underneath, and it looks wonderful and nice and neat. Okay, so there's the outside, okay? Now I'm going to use this white organza ribbon to close my card. And I'm just going to pick two spots that are, nothing lines up perfectly with the lace detail, but pick two spots that are pretty close across from each other. Okay, pull this through, and you're going to do a loose knot. The reason I say a loose knot is so that you don't tear that detail, that lacy detail, which could be easy to do. Okay. And again, I'm just tearing it or pulling it loosely, but it is holding closed nicely. Okay, I'm going to trim that. Get rid of those ends so it looks nice and neat. And the last thing I'm going to do is stamp Wedding Wishes. I did have here's my scrap paper. I'm going to stamp Wedding Wishes. And then I chose one of the hearts from the Sweet and Sassy Framelits dies. You can see there's the traditional heart shape, and then there's the ones like this that curve in a little pointier at the bottom. So this is what I chose. Quick tip, you can always stamp on your paper, pull out one of these framelits and test the size. Is it too big or too small for what you want? That's how I came up with this one. So, setting my card aside, bringing back my big shot to cut out my Wedding Wishes heart. I like that just about there. Pops right out easily. Okay, have that. Now what I'm going to do is once again using my Stampin' piercer, paper piercer, and I am going to pull out one of the piercing mats. I do want to just briefly tell you, you can tell one piercing mat I use truly for piercing. The other stamp mat, pierce mat I use only for stamping. So if I'm using photopolymer sets, or if I'm not stamping on this wonderful grid paper pad, I will stamp on top of this to give me great stamped images. So I just want to warn you of that. At $5 a piece, I would suggest you have two, and you use one for stamping and one for piercing. So I'm just going to put a hole right there. We have this wonderful Night of Navy baker's twine that I'm going to string through this hole. And sometimes it's nice if you can just kind of use your piercer to give that a start. Let's see if I can get it in there. Okay. And then it goes through nicely. And then I'm going to tie this around the knot, and I'm actually going to, since I tied it loosely, I'm going to go through this knot. There's a bottom layer and then the knot lays on top, so I'm going to go through it just like that. I want it kind of dangling right there. So simple way to tie it, I'm just pulling the ends together, doing a loop knot around my finger, and pushing the knot close to that so it hangs below the knot, but not too far, because I don't want it hanging way beyond the circle. And I'll cut those ends. And this is what it looks like at this point. Okay, loving it. And I've decided I'm going to add just one more simple detail, a tiny bit of bling. So I think I'll use this size rhinestone. Don't you love our basic rhinestones? What a great value at $5 a piece. And they have adhesive on the back. One thing I have instructed my customers on is don't just try to, I use the pierce mat, sometimes they'll use their scissors, the tip of their scissors, but don't just pick and fling it up like that or try to pick it up with your fingernail. What I suggest is putting your index finger against the one you're picking up and lifting it up with your piercing tool from there. That way the rhinestones and embellishments don't go flying and you don't go losing. You have more control. And I think I'm just gonna put this right up there. And so let me move everything out of the way. And so there you have it. A beautiful, beautiful card. Perfect for wedding with a nice sentiment inside. And what is the only thing we did not do outside is decorate the envelope. On my others, I have stamped. This time I decided I'm going to use some of that beautiful washi tape. And this is how I'm going to use it. And on this one, I will be cutting the edges just because I don't want, I'm going right up to the edge of the envelope. Okay. And I'm thinking I'm going to decorate my envelope with all three. It's your choice, use 1, 2, or 3. Unfortunately, I don't have any weddings to attend in the near future, but when I do, I'll have a beautiful wedding card to pull from my stash. And then I'm going to do this third one, side by side. Okay, so I have that. I do not want to fold the ends over. That would just look ugly on the back side. So I'm using my paper snips to cut right along the edge of the envelope, being careful not to cut the folded edges. Can you see that? Sometimes I find myself pulling it closer to me to be able to see it, and then I've pulled out of the video frame, so I apologize. If you know me well, you know that technology is, let's just say, it doesn't come easily to me, but I am learning, I am growing. I've got so many great resources of people showing me things and telling me things and giving me lots of tips. So I am getting better. I do have a different setup that I'm trying to get used to. But it is wonderful. I love to be able to share my projects with you in detail, and posting videos on my YouTube and on my blog, stampinpeace.typepad.com, is a great way for me to reach many more of you. So again, that's today's card. Okay friends, my apologies. The video inadvertently turned off on me on the last couple of moments, so I'm going back and retaping this section. But again, what I wanted to just reiterate is the card base you're using is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and you're going to score at 2 inches and 7 1/2 inches on your long side. You can score with your Stampin trimmer scoring blade or the wonderful Simply Score tool. And also that Whisper White card base inside has been cut at 5 1/4 inches by 8 inches and scored 4 inches on the long side. So I really hope you like this beautiful, elegant card. I hope you'll give it a try. If you haven't used washi tape in the past, I hope you'll give that a try as well. And come back tomorrow for the final video in my Floral Boutique Suite series. Thanks for coming. See you soon.